Hello, good day. Today we'll be talking about navigation bars in HTML. So when we're talking about navbar is a section of our page that we'll use to navigate from one page to another. For example, you would have seen like a couple of websites that will have like a section at the top where you can actually easily move to another page. So that is the main function of a navbar. To create a navbar, we will need a list, we will need a tag like an anchor tag that will make us to be able to move around pages. And lastly, we are going to be styling our navbar so that it will look very good on the page. So now let's get started to coding. First thing is to create an HTML page like this, and what I'll be using to create the list of my links, I'll be using to create my links, I'll be making use of unordered lists, UL. So when we are talking about UL, like you use it to make a list of items in HTML. Like you want to list your to-do list, you want to make to-do list, you want to make anything that has to do with listing. So we use unordered lists to make it. Then we'll have a list item, list item. So inside this list item, then we will have our anchor tag where it will take us to another section of the page. So let me create an anchor tag. Yes, so let's call this home. Of course, an anchor tag will always have an href element. So this is where you are going to specify where you are going to. You can say any web address or some section of your page. So let me just copy this and paste it like 5 times. 5. So let me just name this gallery. Let me name this about us, and let me name this contact us. Then let me name this feedback. So now let's go to our browser to preview what we have actually done. As you can see, this is a list item, and when we see a list item like this, you can see there are some other things that you can deduce from this. You can see that they are block level elements, and we have two types of navbar. There are navbars that are vertical, and we have navbars that are horizontal. Okay, let's just make use of a vertical navbar first, then later we'll now move to designing a horizontal navbar. So now let's go to our styling part. Let me create a style tag. Then now what I'll be doing right now is that you see all these round things that are, let me just zoom in a little. You see all these round elements that are in front of each list item here, the home, gallery. These are elements of list, but we don't need it inside our navbar. So what we'll just do is that we'll call the UL element Then there is a property called the list style type. So then we can set it to none. Let me refresh. You can see that it's actually gone. But I want you to just look here towards the left side of these elements. You can see that there are spaces there and we don't want them. So the spaces are around them. So which means that we are going to be making use of padding. So we are setting our padding to 0 so that we can take care of this space and reduce it. So let me just come here, padding to 0. Let's refresh. You can see that the space is actually gone. So to further take care of things, we have to set our margin to 0 too. You can see that it has actually reduced some spaces too. Then now, when we are actually working with navbars, we want a navbar that is very, very clean and very responsive, like it will look good to people. What we'll now do is that you see all this underline. These are elements of this is how an anchor tag will always display, but we can change it, we can remove it by just coming to our style then you can say text decoration. You can see we don't want it, none. So once I put that, you can see that they are actually gone. They are gone. There are other stylings that we can still do. There are other stylings. So let's just think of changing the background of our navbar. Just to remind us, I'm trying to design a vertical navbar first. So inside our UL, I'm going to be setting the background color. Let's say black. Oh, it's not appearing. Why? Oh, it's not color that it's color that I need. You can see that it's actually appearing. There are other things that we can do. We can hardly see the text because it is still color blue, so we can change the color to white. So the A here can say color, can say white. So you can see now, you can see that it's actually now making sense. So there are tons of other things that we can do here. Let's just think of doing another thing. This black is too much. Let's just say we want to reduce the width of our UL because it is the one that houses our list items. So let's just say the width. Let me set the width to 25% so that it will cover just 1/4 of the page. You can see. And I don't actually like how these things are jam-packed. I need a little padding so that there will be spaces between the links. So let me just come here. I can set the background, the border. Let me set the border first. Let me set border. I need border at the bottom. So let me say border bottom. I want it to be 2 pixel solid black. Oh no. Oh, that's not where I'm supposed to set it. I want the border to be around the list items, not the tag. I want them to be under the list item, not the tag. So I can just say list li, then I'll say border bottom 2 pixel solid black. Oh, why is it not showing? Why is it not? Oh, my background is actually black. Oh, forgotten about that, sorry. So let me just call white. Let me call it white so that we can see. You can see now that it is actually now making sense, like it is looking more better. But we can still make some other things about it. So let me just try and put a little decoration display. Let me set the display to block. Do you know the reason why I'm setting the display to block? Because it is the A item is an inline element. So, and I need padding. Padding doesn't work on inline elements, so I have to change the display to block so that I can be able to alter the padding property. So now let me set the padding. I want like 5 pixels on both sides and like 10 pixels on the top and bottom. You can see that it's actually moving fine like this. You can see. So we can leave the navbar like this, depending on how we actually want it. We are in control. So everything depends on what you actually want to design. But this is just a demonstration of how the vertical navbar works. So now, after we have known how to do vertical navbar, so let's just switch to horizontal navbar. This is the navbar that at least 80% of websites are using. So now let's design a horizontal navbar. So the only difference that I can see with horizontal navbar is just that, well, I don't want border. Okay, let me delete all the properties that we have set for the vertical, so that we can come back to what we have before, so that you can understand very well. So now what I'll do first, okay, the first thing, our URL. So we need to remove the dots. So that's list style type, which is none. That has been taken care of. I'm setting the margin to 0. It has reduced some little space, but to remove the spaces permanently, so remove the padding. We set the padding to 0, so everything is back to the edge now. In case that we might have we might have some menus that we overflow, like more than what we can have on the page. We don't want it to create a double line, like we don't want it to overlap. There are some menus that, okay, when it flows from here to here, it will still overlap like this, and we don't want that. It's a bad design. So we can set a property called overflow. So we can say hide. Anytime that our navbar overflows, just hide it. So that is what it means. So now going to our list item. This is a list item. This is a list item. This is a list item. A list item, and feedback is also a list item. And we are talking about horizontal navbar here. What do you think we can do? The only solution to this is that we want to move it, like we want to float, we want to arrange them in horizontal way, because initially these are block level elements. The only thing that we can do right now is to change the list item and we change the display, we can change it to inline elements, inline, but let me just change it to inline block, so that whenever we want to change properties of our list item, maybe like padding, margin, or altering the width, then we can actually make use of it. Because if it's only inline, we cannot alter those properties, but with inline block we can. So let me, you can see now that they have arranged in a horizontal way. Then these lines, I don't want them. The only place that I can do it is the anchor tag. So say text decoration, you can set it to none. You can see that they are gone. So another thing that we can do about our list, our navbar, is that these are actually links, and links too, they are inline elements. Inline elements, remember, we cannot change their width, we cannot change it. Like most properties, you can't change them. Let me try it so that you can see that it will not work. Let me set padding now. Let me set padding on it. Padding 20 pixels. Let's see. Let me just change this background so that you'll be able to see what we are actually doing here. So background color, let me set it to black. Yeah. Then let me change the color of my anchor tag to color, so that everything can be visible white. I guess we are cool now. So now let me set the padding as I have set earlier, padding 20 pixels. Let's see what it will do. You can see that padding means to generate space up, space down, but it is just actually spacing it out, like just around the right side of each of them, or each of the list item. And we need spaces up too, so that is why we need to change the display of this inline element to block. So we now set the display. You will see the difference now. So the display, you can set it to block. So let me refresh. You see the difference, because inline elements will not allow you to set some certain properties. It will never allow you. Let me go to a small screen. No, let me go to a small screen. Let me set the padding to 5 pixels. I think it's actually looking better now. So what I feel we can still do is that whenever we put our mouse on these links, we want to change the background color, so that we can actually know that, okay, this is actually where our mouse is. So we can set the A over when we put our mouse on the links. So we can set the background color to color green to green, and we can set the text. We set the color. Can set the color to white. So let's see what's happened. Let's see. You can see. So this is now looking like a perfect link. This is now looking like a perfect navigation bar. There are other things that we can set. Let's see. Let's say we want to put a design now. We want only the home button to have this color green. we can still say, oh, we can come here and class it. We can class it here. So we can say class home. We can say home here. Then we can say dot home. Then we can just say background color green and color white. Even if we don't put the mouse on it, you can see that it is actually green now. The only time that the other turns green is when our mouse is on it. So we can, sometimes some websites, they used to use a different color for their home page, so that they can actually, so that people can actually click on, like, identify their home page more easily. So let me just think of what we can do again. Let me think of what we can do. Let's say you want border around the items, around the list items. So you can set it here. These are the list items, so you can set the border too. So by saying border, let's say 1 pixel solid. These okay, let's use white, solid white. Oh, this is too much, but everything depends on the kind of design that you want. Everything depends on the kind of design that you want. We can only we can still set for only the right sides instead of it having both two, because what we are actually doing here is that, okay, gallery, we have a border of its own. So the border of gallery here with the border of about us at the left will make these two. But if we only want one, so you can just say border right. Then you can see they are gone. All the design depends on what you actually want to achieve. It depends on what you want to achieve. So in some contexts, you can, instead of using this display inline block, there are some that you use floats. You can float it. Float means that you are actually arranging the elements. So if you float it right, it is going to arrange them towards the right. So if you float them left, it is actually going to arrange them left. So that is the function of float. So now let's just try and use float here. I'm coming, float. Let me use float. Float, okay, left. You can see that they are actually doing the same thing. They are doing the same thing. There are some times that your text might not be properly arranged. So you can still set the property of the text align. The text align property, you can set it to center. You can center it out so that some text will not be appearing on the right while some will be appearing on the left. So let's just come here. You can see that our navbar is very cool. So coming, you might just decide that okay, this navbar, this padding that I want at the top, I want it to be like a little bit bigger than the one at the left and right. So you can actually have two parameters here depending on everything that you want. Depending, you can see that the widths are actually now more bigger. If I set it to 20 now, you can see. If I set it to 30, 40, so which means that this 5 is representing the padding for the top and the bottom, while this 40 pixel is actually representing the padding for the left and right. But if you set just a single padding like this, it is only going to affect like 5 pixels at the top. It is going to affect every side, 5 pixels at the top, bottom, left and right. So you see it now, you can see. So it means that you are setting the same thing for all the elements. So what can I, there are sometimes that you want to specifically like you want to specify that, okay, this is the anchor tag and this is the anchor tag that you are talking about. So you can say LIA, the anchor tag that are inside the list item only, because there are sometimes that you will have other anchor tags that are not within the list item like we have it here. You can see that this anchor tag is inside the list item. So there are sometimes that you have it like that. So you can specify with CSS property that, okay, this is actually what I am talking about. So if I refresh, you can see that it's the same thing. It's the same thing. So everything depends on the kind of designs that you actually want. So thank you for watching the video. I hope you have actually learned